Michigan Avenue in Chicago. A scream in the night, a door left open, and a black ribbon tied with precision. Detective Claire Monroe steps inside, but the ribbon killer is already waiting.
The winter air in Chicago was sharp enough to cut skin. On Michigan Avenue, lights flickered against the glass towers, but something darker moved beneath the glow. A scream brief, strangled, vanished into the wind. Apartment 306's door stood ajar. No forced entry, no broken glass, only a trail. A single red scarf, half soaked in blood, leading inside. Detective Claire Monroe froze as she stepped in. The silence wasn't natural, it was staged. The victim, Hannah Carter, lay sprawled, her hand outstretched toward the window, eyes open. Terrified, yet on her wrist, someone had tied a black ribbon, knotted with precision. A message. On the wall, faint letters scratched by fingernail read, "He's already inside." Claire's breath caught. Inside where? Inside the apartment? Inside her life? Inside the city? Her radio crackled, but before she could respond, she noticed it muddy boot prints that led out of the bedroom but stopped abruptly in the middle of the living room floor. No continuation, no exit, no trace. It was as if the killer had vanished into thin air. The press named him quickly, the ribbon killer, always leaving a black ribbon on his victims, always vanishing without a trace. Hannah Carter was his third victim in 2 months, but the message on the wall was new. Claire studied the crime scene reports. Each victim was different age, gender, background. No connection, except the ribbons. But Hannah was different. She worked for a law firm tied to high-profile corruption cases. Her boss had been preparing testimony against a powerful senator. Coincidence? Or warning? That night, Claire sat alone in her office, rereading files. A sound broke her focus. A faint knock. She turned nobody. On her desk, an envelope that hadn't been there before. Inside, a photo of Hannah alive, taken just hours before the murder. On the back it read, "You're looking in the wrong place." The deeper Claire dug, the darker it became. Senator William Harrow had enemies, but also power enough to bury evidence. Hannah's firm had been collecting proof of money laundering tied to violent gangs. Claire tried to link the senator to the murders. No direct proof, only whispers. But then she received a call from a blocked number. A man's voice, calm and cold. "Detective Monroe, stop chasing shadows, or you'll wear the ribbon next." Click. The next morning, police discovered another victim. A journalist who had been investigating Harrow. Same black ribbon. Same vanishing footprints. But this time left beside the body a small cassette tape. When played, it contained a single sentence, whispered, "The detective is already marked." Claire doubled security around herself, but paranoia set in. Who inside the department could she trust? Her partner, Detective Ray Holden, grew distant. He avoided her questions, hid files. She caught him meeting someone in an alley at night, a man in a senator's convoy car. Was Ray leaking information? She followed him secretly, only to realize he was slipping evidence into anonymous drop boxes. When confronted, Ray broke. "I'm not betraying you, I'm protecting you. Someone in the department is feeding the killer. If you don't stop, they'll silence you too." Before Claire could press him further, Ray was shot dead in front of her. A single bullet from a rooftop. The killer was watching them both. The city drowned in fear. Every shadow on Michigan Avenue seemed alive. Claire went rogue, cutting ties with the department. She traced the cassette tape to an abandoned theater. Inside, dusty seats, a broken stage, and in the center, a mannequin dressed in her own clothes, a black ribbon around its neck. A spotlight flicked on. A voice echoed from speakers. "You're not chasing me, Claire. I've been chasing you." The walls were plastered with surveillance photos of her daily life, her home, her car, even her childhood house. The ribbon killer had been watching for years, and then she found it an evidence box labeled Case 1997, Monroe Family Tragedy. Her parents' unsolved murder. Black ribbons on both wrists. This wasn't random. It was personal. Everything pointed back not to Senator Harrow, not to gangs, but to the department's oldest secret. In 1997, her parents had been witnesses in a police corruption scandal. They were silenced by the same killer or someone who inherited his methods. The ribbon killer wasn't one man. It was a legacy, passed through insiders. Claire uncovered the truth. The current killer was Captain Elias Ward, her own superior officer, the man who'd mentored her for years. He had been covering the old crimes, tying loose ends with ribbons. When she confronted him, Ward smiled. "You were never supposed to find out, but you did, which means only one of us walks away." The fight was brutal inside the abandoned theater. Claire barely survived, stabbing him with his own knife. As he bled, he whispered, "You stopped me, but you'll never stop the ribbon. Someone else will tie the knot." The case closed with Ward's death, but in the final scene, a package arrived at Claire's desk. Inside, a fresh black ribbon and a note. The legacy continues. In the cold streets of Chicago, the legacy of the ribbon killer still lingers. Hannah Carter's screams have faded. Detective Ray Holden's sacrifice is buried in silence, and Captain Elias Ward's shadow no longer walks the alleys of Michigan Avenue. But evil, true evil, never dies with one man. The black ribbon, once tied with precision, has become a symbol, a promise. Detective Claire Monroe survived the hunt, but survival came with a cost. Every night, she wonders, who sent the final package? Whose hands tied the last ribbon? And when will they strike again? Because in the world of crime, justice is never absolute. Shadows wait, secrets breathe, and the ribbon continues its journey. This was The Ribbon Killer, the haunting mystery of Michigan Avenue. If you want to hear more true crime stories, subscribe, stay with us, and remember, behind every silence, there may already be someone inside.